News tonight. A massive blackout has plunged Spain, Portugal, and parts of southern France into chaos. At around 12:30 p.m., power grids collapsed without warning. Trains stopped mid-route. Airports scrambled. Hospitals switched to backup generators. Officials are blaming a rare atmospheric phenomenon. Extreme temperature swings causing high-voltage power lines to vibrate out of control, but cybersecurity teams are now investigating the possibility of a coordinated cyberattack. Communication is failing. Major events like the Madrid Open were forced to shut down mid-match. Entire cities are frozen in place. Is this really just a freak weather event? Or is something bigger happening behind the scenes? Like and follow at the Viral Tangent for real stories that hit harder than fiction, truth is stranger, and way more epic.
There's been a blackout across much of Spain, Portugal and parts of France. So what's happened and why? Spain's Prime Minister has said there's no conclusive information on a cause so far. A cyber attack appears to have been ruled out, whereas Portugal's grid operator blames a phenomenon called induced atmospheric vibration affecting high-voltage power lines in Spain. However, there's little evidence so far of extremes in temperature, winds, or geomagnetic storms that can fry power grids. At around 12:15 Spanish time, something did go badly wrong, however. Around half the power grid on the Iberian Peninsula seems to have gone instantly offline. An outage in one or more parts of a power network causes a sudden imbalance in supply and demand. In order to protect infrastructure, either power plants shut down or customers are disconnected. If it happens faster than grid operators can rebalance the grid, outages can spread as automatic circuit breakers trip like dominoes. While grids can fail instantly, they can take far longer to switch back on. With an outage of this scale, it requires parts of the grid to be switched back on step by step, balancing supply and demand, and that process can take many hours or even days.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessing salutations, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakadam, to the sincere believers, the hopefully elect out there, listening and learning. So there's been a massive power outage that's hit the Iberian Peninsula and southern France as well earlier today. And they're claiming that it was something with the atmosphere, that caused the grid to be fried. But as you heard in that last clip, the guy pretty much said, there's been no abnormal weather going on, no extreme heat or anything like that that would cause the grid to just be fried, But they're saying that a cyber attack is being ruled out. So they're saying that it's not a cyber attack. But in all cases, we know that's what it is. And the cyber attack is coming from the inside, okay? And the fact that you had this happen within the EU, this is a sign that, hey, they're getting ready to pull the plug on America, all right? Because this thing just happened all of a sudden. And this is why the scriptures say to watch and be circumspect, because the days are evil. I mean, look, we're really in a time where we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. That's why it's very important to be proactive and constantly be seeking Yahweh Bashmi Oshai in this time, because like it happened in Spain and Portugal and France. You could wake up one day and you ain't got no power. The water's not running. Everything is shut down, And the whole country's in complete chaos. These scenarios are going to be happening very soon because we're in the time that the Lord is visiting the earth. We're in a time of great tribulation, So the cause of the outage is still unclear, although Portuguese Prime Minister Luis Montenegro says there is no indication of a cyber attack. And isn't it funny how they always rule that out so quick? there's no indication. But how do you know that? You know, there hasn't even been time for you to investigate what's really going on, but you come out with the report and say that it's not a cyber attack. Very interesting, right? You know, a massive power outage struck the Iberian Peninsula on Monday, affecting millions of people across Spain and Portugal and causing widespread disruption to essential services. The blackout, which began shortly after noon local time, left large sections of both countries without electricity. Major cities affected include Madrid, Lisbon, Seville, Barcelona, Valencia, Malaga, Bilbao, and Cadiz. Reports indicate that parts of France and Andorra that border Spain have also experienced outages, right? So these are the things that are going on across the earth. And you had a blackout that happened in Puerto Rico about 2 weeks ago. And it was one in Cuba about 2 months ago. So we've been seeing these blackouts happen for years now. All right. But the fact that it's hit the EU all of a sudden so hard, this is a very pressing indicator that whoever's, behind these cyber attacks, which is more than likely the elites, they about to do something real big. You know, the Pope just allegedly died, you know what I'm saying? And according to the Book of the Popes or whatever it's called, once the 112th Pope, which Pope Francis was, dies, that's pretty much going to usher in the end of the world. All right, so Project 25 that these devils are running, it's all going according to plan. Now, over there in Spain, the people are in darkness because the power still ain't came back on. All right, and these are the plagues that the Lord is visiting the earth with, but he's using Esau, his sword, to, bring these things about. All right, so when you go to Exodus 10, and about 2021, because, hey, when you read in 2nd Ezra 15, I believe, it tells you that the Lord would, plague Egypt with plagues as before, right? So we know that America, this beast system is, modern day spiritual Egypt, modern day spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, modern day Babylon. All right. So the same plagues that affected ancient Egypt is also going to affect, this beast system, but mainly Babylon the Great today. Exodus 10 and 21, darkness over the land. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings, right? So a plague that the Lord brought upon the land of ancient Egypt was darkness, okay? And it tells you, that they didn't move, No, nobody moved for 3 days, all right? And this was a darkness which they even felt. It was so dark, you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face, all right? So that's how, like the Lord really brought an utter darkness upon that land, and people were sorely afraid, just like our people are afraid now, man, because let's go to Luke, because it tells you that, men's hearts will fail them for fear, Luke 21. And all these things entail the return of Hamashiach Yahushai, which we're very close, man. All right, everything on the table, the mark of the beast, World War III, mass judgments going out throughout the earth, mass death, pestilences, famine, it's all here. Luke 21 and 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, so, people are definitely being, shook up. Their hearts are failing them. They don't understand what's going on, ultimately because they don't have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to comfort them. You know what I'm saying? And that's, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we have, this is the true wealth. All right, because this world is going towards destruction and chaos. And guess what? When everybody out here is in the midst of chaos and confusion, they try to find a way to find some kind of comfort, figure out what's going on. We're going to be good because guess what? We're going to understand what's going on. All right? We're going to be able to call on the names of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. And hey, we're going to be good. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is going to be with us in that time. You know, we're not going to be losing our minds, crashing out like these people out here because they didn't receive the knowledge while it was yet available, man, but they abused it. You know, they pretty much slapped the Lord's hand away when mercy was extended to them. All right. Same thing that people did in the time of Noah. You know, Noah was Noah, represented mercy. All right. When you really go into it, man, Noah was like mercy because the Lord set Noah up, you know, as a prophet during that time to tell the people the destruction that was coming. But they didn't regard it. So that mercy was not extended unto them. All right. It was their lot to be destroyed anyway, but nonetheless, Noah was out there preaching and prophesying, and nobody took heed. You see, until the destruction come, then they believe. You see, then they wanted to repent, but it was too late. Same thing is gonna happen in these times, man. Right? Yeah. Europe power outage caused by rare atmospheric phenomenon, company says. Right? So now they want to blame it on a rare atmospheric phenomenon, which how can you say that it's not a cyber attack, but that it's some rare atmospheric phenomenon? How can you figure that out so fast? Which shows you that E is full of it, you know, because they'll come out with some PR report and say, oh, tell them that it's this. So they don't know there's a cyber attack when they've been showing you. All right. What's that movie? Leave the World Behind, 0 Day, you know, what's that other, I forget the name of the other one, but it was a blackout in that one too. You know, Lord will come back to me, but the point is they've put multiple visuals out there over the years to show you that, because really Esau, he tells you what you're going to do before you do it. All right, that's the revelation of the method, you know, to where these devils reveal their plans and then they carry it out. And when you watch Leave the World Behind, there are many prophecies that were forecasted in that movie that have already come to pass. All right, so the next one to come is a grid outage, a cyber attack in which people are going to lose access to their money. The banks is going to be shut down. The grid is going to go black. All right, and from that, they're going to what? They're going to reset, you know, to where, hey, as Klaus Schwab said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. You see what I'm saying? Because people going to be catching so much hell. They already catching hell. But how much hell, you know, is going to come once the store shelves dry up? That's the forecast right now. People lose their job. They lose their 401k. They lose their savings. Everything is gone. What are you going to have left? All these people are going to know how to do is go to Esau and seek a solution. And that solution is going to come in the form of the MOTB, in which that's going to be their own destruction. All right. The power outage has brought public transport to a standstill, caused significant traffic jams and delayed flights. And all these things are coming to America, man. As we've been telling you, all these things that are happening overseas already, these things are coming to America, Babylon the Great. The disruption has impacted millions of people. Matches for the Madrid Open tennis tournament have been suspended. Portuguese banks and schools have closed, and hospitals in Spain have been forced to run on generators. And see, this shows you how vulnerable that this society really is, because in one moment, you know, in one moment, everything can just turn left, you know, because these people now have become so dependent on technology with this modern world that they're not in tune with the earth anymore. All right. People don't know how to farm. You know, they don't know how to read the stars. You know, they don't know how to, you know, just do simple stuff that pertains to survival, you know. So when the grid goes out, that's everything. You know what I'm saying? That's everybody's livelihood is pretty much gone, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Esau has got people to the point where No one has skills. You know, you think about the time of the Great Depression. Yeah, things were bad, but people still made a way to get through that. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, women knew how to, crochet and sew and wash clothes, cook. These women today don't know how to do none of that, man. These women today really have no skills, and likewise the men. But at least the men are better off. You know what I'm saying? Because you have, men that are in trades, carpenting, construction. You know what I'm saying? Men know how to do things still. But these women, they're gonna be in the worst case scenario because they've gotten comfortable and they don't have to serve a man. So when all hell breaks loose, these women are gonna be completely through, completely done. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, hey, this is how the devil's gonna cause you. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna take away that comfort, and because of your distress and your lack of faith, you're gonna opt into a situation that is gonna lead to your demise. You see? Yeah, so they said it's extreme temperature and all this other BS. Esau full of it, man. But let's go to Matthew 24. I don't want to make this long. Interest of time, it's getting kind of late. Matthew 24 and verse 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now Yahushua was really speaking about the coming destruction of 70 AD when the Romans came in and sacked Jerusalem. That's what he's referring to. But this is also going to happen again in these times, man. Okay? So what Yahushua, what was then is now, all right? Nothing new under the sun. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see that? So if it's not for the elect's sake, okay, which the days are flying by, like a day feel like half a day now. A day feel like 12 hours, man. Like you look up, it's like, damn, it's 8 o'clock. So the day's definitely being shortened, man. Time is speeding up, which means that Yahushua is on his way back, all right, to deliver his elect. You see, but yeah, the point is that we're in the midst of great tribulation, okay? We're coming to a time in which it's about to be, well, it is a lot going on, but you got the judgments of the Heavenly Father going out. You know what I'm saying? You got famine, you got global supply chains breaking down, you got war brewing. You got people more demonic than ever. All right? You just have a whole, really it's a perfect scenario for chaos, for all hell to break loose. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have Esau coming down with a sword, locking people up, throwing people in jail. People going to be snitching, you know what I'm saying, for incentives to eat and things like that. So we're in the midst of some very dangerous, perilous times, man. All right? And just know that Esau about to roll real soon, too. Esau about to roll, man. And it's all adds to that tribulation. And these stupid Christians, you know what I'm saying, waiting on the rapture. You know what I'm saying? If there was a rapture, and you're a Christian, right? Shouldn't sweet Jeebus have come and got you already? So why are you still here? Which the Lord is going to come for his elect. But the scriptures say that he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved, right? Matthew 24, what is that? For nation shall rise against nation. I feel like I'm passing. I know that's in this chapter. Many prophets. Yep, Matthew 24 and 13. Matter of fact, 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. All right, so nobody is saved yet. All right, you got to endure through these times. You know what I'm saying? As it says here, perilous times. So you're going to have to endure. And how do you endure? Through your faith, right? you're gonna endure through your faith in Yahweh Shai Shai. That's the only way. All right, because you really have to believe, you know what I'm saying, that the Lord is and that he will do. But if you don't, you're gonna go down to Egypt for help, you know. You're gonna seek Esau's solution, which is gonna lead to death, ultimately. All right, now when you go here, the FDA issues urgent nationwide recall of bread sold in U.S. found with quote unquote glass fragments. Now, how the hell does glass get up in bread? You know what I'm saying? But hey, the scriptures do say that we would eat our bread defiled among the Gentiles. But this devil is clearly ramping up the persecution. You know what I'm saying? He's clearly getting more demonic, more in, set into the left hand. Like this devil is coming down with that great wrath because he knows his time is short. So he's putting glass in bread. He's injecting animals with serpent venom and things like that. He's spraying the air more. This devil got a lot going on. So this is why now it's even more important to fast and abstain from this defiled bread. Because ultimately ain't none of it good. I mean, we try to do the best that we can, but ultimately we just need the Lord. We need Yahweh Shai to save us from this hellhole, man, because as we just read, if it was not for the sake of the elect, no flesh would be saved. This devil would destroy everything. You got glass up in the bread, Esau putting pork inside the bread, man. So it's just, this devil definitely taking away the food, and bread is a main staple in America. Bread is like a main food staple, man, just like it was in ancient Rome, showing you that this is ancient Rome all over again. So that's that. Oh yeah, this right here too. Japan earthquake horror. As forecast says, 300,000 may die when next big one strikes. You see this? So there's reports coming out that there's gonna be a mega quake that's gonna hit Japan. They don't know when, but they saying around July 4th, July 5th weekend. Which their time is different over there, but according to our time, they're anticipating this thing to hit, July 4th or July 5th around that time. So we don't know. We just got to wait and see. But we've been seeing a lot of deadly earthquakes happen within recent years. There was that one in Turkey that killed like over 100,000. Then there was another one in, I believe it was Morocco or Tunisia, somewhere like that, where, thousands died. And there was another one. But there's been a whole lot of mass casualties with earthquakes recently, man. And they're even talking about one hitting off the coast of California that's going to be deadly. All right, so, hey, the Lord is turning up on the judgment, and a lot of souls are being sent back. So this is just another sign of the times to be aware of, man. That things are getting, deadly serious out here. 2 Ezra 5 says that what many shall be taken in a great number. So the Lord is visiting the earth that he's made, and hey, death is also going to be at the forefront in this time, man. The scripture is saying 2 Ezra 16 that the dead shall be cast out as dung. It's going to be so many dead bodies around. It's going to be like feces that just laying, on the ground somewhere. Nobody's going to regard it. Nobody's going to, pick it up. It's just, it's just going to be there, So, this is what the King of Terrors, which is Yahweh Shai, is bringing on the earth for judgment. You're going to be having 300, 400 foot tall tsunamis. It's going to wipe out whole cities, man. You're going to have cities sink into the water. The scriptures speak about all these things, Let's go to Isaiah 33 and 6. Because look, right, seeing these things, would make the average individual fear, would make them afraid, right? But what it's saying, Isaiah 33 and 6, I quoted it earlier. Matter of fact, verse 5, the Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord. is his treasure, right? Let's go into that, right? Let's go into that word, the stability, right? Outline of biblical usage: firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, right? So this wisdom and knowledge that we possess is going to make us steadfast. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make us firm. You know, we're not going to be able to be swayed to and fro like how these people are, right?
Strong's H 530. Emunah, emunah.
Right. So yeah, man. You know, our faith is going to, make us, stable in this time. You know what I'm saying? Which that's what the world doesn't have. The world doesn't have stability. They don't have anything to fall back on when their back is against the wall. All right. They're going to trust in, prepping. They're going to trust in guns and ammo and food that they got stored up. But, really, the Lord is going to take all that away too. Because, hey, you may have all that stuff at your disposal, but guess what? The Lord can make it to where you get burned out of your house or you get raided, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody betrays you to where now you're put in a position to where all that stuff that you saved up is going to do you no good, So those are the enemies of the Lord. It's not going to be well with them. You know what I'm saying? They're ultimately going to perish. You know what I'm saying? And for them preppers out there, all that food they got stored up, that's really going to be reserved for the elect. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be reserved for. So these people that are outside, the will of Yahweh, Bashmo Shai, they are going to be taken. We can close out here in Amos 9. Amos 9 and Amos 9 and 8. It says, behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. And that's what Jake is saying right now. Jake is saying, because they're hearing the report, but they're going with the consensus of the world and still want to have that hope, still want to have that optimism that this world can bounce back. Because why? Ultimately, this is their world. So they wanted to continue, despite all the wickedness, despite all the evil. They love it here because they can be wicked. All right? So they say in their hearts that evil shall not overtake us nor prevent us. You know what I'm saying? So Jake is out here saying, and really it's these people at large too, but speaking of Jake, that they're not going to see no evil, you know what I'm saying, that they're not going to starve and that they're going to live their best life. 2025 is their year. You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset of Jake, just pure folly. All right? But the Lord got something coming. The Lord got something coming, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, great tribulation is here. Things are, major events are going to, shake up the earth. You know what I'm saying? So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call Lord Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Come Yashala, Wa Babu Ball. On to the next one, shalom.